Welcome to Doodling in the Margins, gold digging for parts of speech. I'm a writer, behind the typewriter, uncomfortable in a mode that represents me. The ecstasy of being in the sun, the dogmatism about being anonymous. It seems weird to complain. I'm happy living in a phone book when I first started writing. I didn't belong where I was. I walked miles barefoot through endless thrift store shit jobs, skinny on joy. I felt I was not welcome in this world. Looking back, I cringe at the stuff I first wrote. It was like digging for gold in a playground sandbox, lacking creative control while eating bacon, eggs, and kale on spelt instead of hot buttered toast. Hello, Crazy Ender. Welcome. I'm reading some poetry tonight, and we'll do some doodling in the margins. The house's pulse. Bad girls lined up like ragged lawn chairs, lighting cigarettes, strangled like dodgeball players standing against the wall, waiting to get back into the game, drinking PBR from tall boy cans with kinky straws. Fat with power, they screech. Zoom in to psychedelic scents, colors on smartphones. The Punishment Brothers played dense black metal on Hump Day at Owl's Den off Burnside in a subterranean bar. I'm going to read this poem and then we're going to go move on to do. This is one of my favorite slam poets, and I met him once. This is he autographed this booklet for me. Big Papa E, The Crush from 2009. The cute girl at the coffee house who serves you lattes every morning is afraid of you. When you walk into the room, the soft skin of her slender arms sprout goose flesh. You think she's shy the way she lowers her gaze as you approach the front counter. You think she might fancy you the way she whispers as she asks if you want whole milk or skim or foam or no foam, a stir, a lid. The sound of your much larger than necessary tips sliding from your calfskin wallet into the open mouth of her tip jar makes her think of a still leaf leather belt pulled through loops of dirty denim pants. She has told her coworkers about you. They have assigned you nicknames. They all keep watch and warn her when they spy your lopping gait so she can slip into the back and hide behind swinging door of the storeroom until they signal your retreat. That day you caught her leaning unawares near the bus tub overflowing with coffee mugs and asked her what music was playing over the loudspeakers. She winced, hating the fact that she had lowered her guard, loathing that she was obliged to tell you the name of her favorite band. She has not listened to them ever since. She wants no reminder of you, hounding her day like dog shit on the bottom of her pink Converse high tops. She purchased pepper spray on the internet and keeps it in the breast pocket of her apron at all times, half hoping for a reason to empty the canister into your eyes, wishing you'd lunge for her throat with spit on your lips as she butters toasted bagel with a butcher knife, but you don't. You simply order your morning double tall soy, no foam decaf latte, tip a few bucks more than you have to, and leave with a smile, wondering absent-mindedly if you should ask her for her phone number every morning while she holds her breath and waits patiently for the sound of the front door snapping shut behind you. That's a pretty dark poem. But you know, that's kind of how it is sometimes when you got that one-sided love. Well, I'm just going to do some coloring here. You know, I've never done a color by numbers before. We might just do some other things, and so it's just sort of a miscellaneous night. Let's see, where are all the ones at? One. I think this is a one color. So how are you, Crazy Ender? Did you take your name from that show Ender's Game? That movie, was it Ender's Game? Was that how it was? I know this one's just not going to be as popular as the others. I might shift gears and do stencils. You're good. Yeah. Have you ever done one of these color by numbers things before? I think I want to use a crayon. Maybe a crayon would go faster. Oh, but you know, I can use... I know I usually do like paper mache on Friday nights, but... Oh, okay, so that comes from... So you didn't read the novel series of... Yeah, there's a whole novel series, which I've read half of them, because one of the characters' name is Enders. And that was why I was wondering if you had seen that, at least seen the movie. There is a movie. Don't have... And see, it was starring like Harrison Ford, and so these aliens came and they invaded, and they got the children to play these video games to try to beat the aliens. And because the children have lesser degrees of empathy, so they were made like the perfect you know vessels to exact their revenge on them. I think that was what it was. 4 was... I'm deciding that 4 is this color here. Yeah. Yeah, I think I've been sitting on this color by number thing for years, and this is like my first time ever. I was like looking for my color wheel the other day, which I never found, and then I ended up buying another color wheel, and and so it's like, you know, I hate that when you can't find stuff. You know, I've bought and lost... I guess this is the third color wheel that I've purchased in my life since I started doing art. And so I'm going to be trying to up my game as an artist and do more using complementary colors and under paintings and stuff like that. I watched a whole bunch of tutorials on like using pastels, and there are these things that people do which I had no idea, you know, practices like underpaintings. I said, what the hell is an underpainting? And but for I knew what, you know, like doing a, you know, an undercoat was when you do do certain paintings and you'll do a wash on the canvas. You do a wash on the canvas, and it helps to tie all the colors together. So they say. It's like advanced painting or something like that. And any more 5s on here? I have 5. I don't see any more 5s. So you play Minecraft on your channel, Crazy Ender? Two is this one here. Oh, hi. You could give me $5. Welcome, Isaac. Welcome, Caitlin. Well, I do have a PayPal link, and I'm eventually going to start doing an Etsy store. I'm thinking my buddy. You haven't been here lately, but you were here recently. I was going to do some poetry tonight, but while I was waiting, I did 2 poems, and I didn't realize one of the poems was so dark. And here's the three ones just read. So we're just going to do a little bit of this, and then I'm going to move on and do some more poetry. Well, Caitlin, weren't you here like on a Saturday night like 2 weeks ago? It seems to me like 2 weeks ago, I think. But maybe it could have been 3 weeks ago, because the time really does this all does blend together here. It blends together a lot. But tomorrow night I'm going to do a painting, and I might adjust the Saturday time down to, I have it in at 11. I'm going to keep it 11 for the rest of this month for Saturday night, but I'm going to adjust everything, I think, down to 10 o'clock at night come in October for the nighttime ones. I am going to paint a, oh, you lost a tooth? Yeah, I'm going to have a tooth pulled. Well, I've been dragging my, I haven't set the extraction date yet, but the tooth can't be saved, and so, yeah. Oh, you lost a tooth. You didn't have a tooth pulled. You lost one of your teeth. So what I'm going to paint, Tyler, is I'm going to be painting a, well, I have a bunch of different choices. So I have I went to the beach a couple days ago, and I took a bunch of pictures of the ocean and different things, and so I might do a ocean scene, but I might do something another friend of mine suggested that I do, was to paint a forest scene on a milk carton. And so I prepared a milk carton to be painted, and I think I'm going to start it tomorrow night and finish it Sunday afternoon. So it'll be more than one coat. So I might be able to get it all done in one night. So if I get it all done tomorrow night, I'll get it all done tomorrow night. Then on Sunday, I'll do something different, like go work on something. Well, I'm going to switch over to doing spoken word. This is some of my poetry. Here's one. I'll do this one. I like spoken word poetry is my favorite. So I'll do this one. I got this kind of a one monkey banging away at the typewriter sort of thing going on. Meaning is extracted through the seeming randomness of it all. A stray observation here, a comment there, along with the occasional realization. Geological ages pass as these layers of sediments settle, compact into minute blocks of earthy clay. Data bricks shift up, down, right, left, back, forth, rotated every which way, turned inside out, geometrically categorized by 99 dancing chimpanzees playing Chinese checkers. And so poetry is my favorite art to do. And then but I've been doing poetry the longest. That one was one I did right. Now, what I wanted to try tonight was do a dramatic reading of a receipt. And so one of my favorite poets, I have a lot of favorite poets, but the very first one I read tonight was by this poet called Big Papa E. And he wrote a poem where he just read a receipt and made it sound all exciting. And I wish that I could share that with you, but because I don't have permission to do it, I can't. And I won't. And so I will give this a go. So you think of it like using your voice to take something boring and turn it into something interesting. That's what I'm going to attempt to do here. Coca-Cola. 0 member savings. Taco tortilla. Mission Street taco. Club soda. Tonic water. Paper towels. Member savings. Spinach. Steamer. Eggs. Cheese. Vaseline. Mexican cheese. Spinach. Greens. Colored flavor. Magnesium. Calcium. Sourdough. Meat. At the bar for a chicken thigh, a breast, a banana. Okay, that was stupid. All right, I get it. Hello, Oakley Bean. Maybe we won't try that again. We will move on to doing some more from... I'll just read another one from this. I'll try to choose stuff that doesn't have any dirty language in it. This one, machine language. I'm not sure I understand this river of fog flowing off the dais. It sounds like a memory of a buried phantasm. It sounds like a voice of an ant as it inches across the earth, listening to our world, comprehending wolf howls and earth tears. Adama cries out in groaning ticks. The rocks are alive. The soil is alive. The air is alive. The moon is alive. The cosmos is alive. The Big Bang exhales. It wails in loud yowls of electronic noise. The dirt wants us to understand that the mother is present. The people before Caucasian-centric thought infected them with viral lies and empty myths knew this instinctively. This wisdom could be heard in the opening of a morning flower. It could be heard on the beating wings of a hummingbird. It could be heard on dew gathered on swirling blades of grass. It could be heard through heavy molars cracking into the marrow of a bison bone. I am on that mountain ledge again, looking down into a valley at billowing clouds of smoldering red, taking a break from the shovel, inhaling fiery air from a wild land ablaze, listening to the voice of the wind, watching a thin black column of ants march across scorched earth, sensing a presence, a consciousness that extends beyond the four dimensions of what can be seen. White has gone deaf with unnatural concerns. White has turned a blind eye to the voice that came before. White is not the center of the universe that it thinks it is. What is my place in this machine? Well, that chased everybody away. There's nothing like a no buzz kill like poetry is. I need the number 2. This is the number 2 right here. Where's the number 4? That was the number 4. Sounds like there's a party going on in the other room. Loud people talking on the telephone. Loud people talking on the telephone. It sounds like a party in the next room. Let's take a look here. A bear. There is a bear over there. A bear. A bear looking at a pear in a tree. A unicorn. Its horn pointed at the moon. The moon. It's not full tonight. The moon, less than full, shines through the clouds. It's cold out right now. Not wintertime cold, but just cold. The cold air, crisp, magic in the air. The bear laid a black egg. Or was it the unicorn that laid a black egg? Because everybody knows that unicorns come from eggs. The black egg fell from the sky like a meteor streaking through the clouds. The clouds parted, showering its prismatic rays of light like a golden egg in a nest. That golden egg found at the end of a rainbow. But is that the story of the leprechaun? The leprechaun and the dragon? The dragon egg that is gold? Soon a new dragon will hatch out of that golden egg. The egg may hatch someday. But a serpent came and ate the egg. The dragon was sad. The serpent and the dragon went to war. They duked it out in the air. They circled and circled and circled around and around and around. And let's see what happened next. That egg emerged out of the backside of the serpent. It just passed on through without digesting, and from it was born a creature of fire. The phoenix was born from a golden egg that a serpent swallowed, that a dragon laid. And the unicorn ran around in a circle and danced with a bear in the forest. But you probably just don't really care too much about this story, because what happened next is an eagle. An eagle flew in. The eagle flew in and said to the phoenix, lighting up the sky, there is a peacock in the next valley over. This peacock might be good to eat. But a nightingale started to sing, singing a beautiful song in the air. It was so beautiful. A mist raised up from the ground and obscured the moon. The peacock ran away just in time to avoid the phoenix. But a dragonfly came, swooping in, buzzing the peacock. At 90 miles an hour. Maybe that story has an end right there. A story that didn't make much sense, but you know, uses of cards. Cards like this is a animal spirit oracle. The cards aren't shuffled, but we'll just pull another one out and see what stories can come about from them. You have to be careful with the owl. The owl can pick up a whole cat. Owls can be dangerous to cats at night, because cats and little dogs don't see the owls. They come swooping down. They can pick up a little cat or a little dog, and they carry them up about 30, 40 feet in the air and drop them, which is enough to incapacitate or to kill that little creature. So you got to be careful with owls. You got to be careful when you let your little animals out to sleep, out to go pee-pee at night, because the owls can sweep in and take your little dogs and little cats. Let's see what else is here. Vulture. Vulture. Well, you know, the other day, a hawk killed one of the squirrels that lives in my barn. It just swooped on down and killed that squirrel. It ate its eyes and a few other things, and then left the carcass there. And then after 2 days, a vulture came and cleaned up the rest. Hello, Oakley. Oh, you said that all you guys are leaving. What do we have here? A bee. I didn't see very many bees this year. Some of the trees don't even have all that many fruit on them. It seemed like a very dangerous situation that we got here, this with the bees. The bees and other bugs. Maybe it's just the climate that I'm at. We couldn't see that many of those bees and bugs. It's very alarming, you know. What other numbers am I missing here? 5, 5, 5, 5. Which one was 5? This color here was 5. This is the most boring show on the internet tonight. I know now not to do poetry again. 2. Which one was 2? This one was 2. But I think we'll try some magic answers in just a second. I have my magic answer cards. Ask it some questions and see what answers it has for us tonight. I think I'm done with this. I'm done with that. I'm not going to subject anybody to that again. Where is my my stencil brush? Do I have that here? Yes. A stencil brush. Let's do stencils instead. I'll put the bee away. These cards are interesting. They make good prompt cards. And we're going to, Where was that stencil that I did use the other day that had all the cool... Well, we'll just use this one here. Connect the dots. Maybe we'll do watercolor. Stencils. Do stencils first with acrylics. And then we'll come back over it and make some abstract art thing for the remainder of the night. I have those. Where's that other one at? I don't know. I'm so disorganized. We don't need this anymore. I might see what the tarot is going to say first. The tarot has a message for this right time, right now. It's all about nostalgia of the past. The giving of things, giving of one thing to another. You know, that's actually a good card. It isn't like a real negative card or anything else like that. I think I'm going to go and see if I can do... Well, nobody's watching. We can do a tarot poem of some kind. Let's just see what the tarot has to say. Pop, pop. A little shuffling of cards. The variety. We're not going anywhere fast right now. How many times am I going to draw that Justice card this week? Yeah. And worry. The balancing of the scales. And so the issue is, and what is the issue? The issue is this. Interesting. Not going anywhere fast. The balancing of the scales. We have worry on one side, and then on the other side of the scales is this. On the other side of the scales is this King of Pentacles. We have anxiety and responsibility. That's what's being balanced right now, but it's this sense of not going anywhere. And that's actually what's going on here, because this live stream isn't going anywhere at all. But we need to rectify that and start going someplace and taking a journey. And maybe we'll just ask a question of the word oracle. The word oracle. And what does the word oracle want to say right now on this Friday night? The oracle of the words. This is what it wants to say. Interesting. Adrift. Adrift. In a little boat. Drifting in a little boat. The hand is on the oar. forward with each stroke of the oar. I can't undo the last 40 minutes. The boredom of the moment, chasing everyone away. There are much more exciting things happening in the vertical stream. A rebound, a ball rebounds against a wall, bouncing another time, bouncing. The hand on the oar moves the boat forward. It is not just drifting. It is not just moving without a sound. There is a whole array of motion out there in that sea. A solar flare, a solar eclipse, a solar wind blows. The canopy of the trees. The canopy above the trees shields the ground from the cosmic rays. The position of the sun in the sky is at high noon. The position of the sun is at high noon. The best thing about giving a flower to another is the receiving. The receiving of a wind from the solar flare. A little boat sails adrift on a sea of the now. Okay? That's kind of more in line with what I was going to do. Let's take a look at the answers card. So, why do I keep pulling the Justice card? These three answers popped out. It's coming soon. Love is in the air. No, it is coming soon. Is it coming soon? No, it's not coming at all, because love is in the air. And what kind of love are we talking about here? What kind of love are we talking about here that is in the air? 1 5 plus 1 5 equals 6. No, maybe, yes. No, maybe, yes. No, maybe, yes. And let's see what the word oracle has to say. It is coming soon. No, maybe, yes. Love is in the air. Mars. Mars, Aries, the god of war. There's a war out there. There's a war out there in the world. Is that what's coming soon? A war? A fight? All data points point to it. Yes, maybe. Out on the sea, the endless sea of memory, remembering those things. May want to see some rocks. We're not doing rocks tonight. I was doing words. We're gonna do rocks again soon, though. The memory, and look, a trapeze. So it is coming soon. No, maybe yes. Love is in the air. The nostalgia of the moment, a memory, a tycoon, a sly feeling, that slides into you like candy at an Act 3 movie theater. Hello, Alex. Welcome. Welcome, Alex. And we have been doing poetry all night long, spinning poems in the moment with these word cards. And what is the number on the back? 24. 2 plus 4 equals 6. Love is in the air. That's what this is all about. Maybe for you. Maybe for me. Maybe for someone who's not here right now. That love is in the air. Cutting through the air like a sword, parting the mood, parting that feeling, parting the air like water, like the Red Sea splits like that. The sword comes down, splits the air. On one side, it's Mars. On the other side, it is a renewal. The renewal of that memory that makes you feel good. Okay, that's this one here. I'm gonna try one more. One more. Let's just try some more of these answer cards. Maybe if you have a question, you can ask it a question and see what happens. If not, I will just ask that question again of why do I keep pulling the Justice card? Why do I keep pulling the Justice card? I need to examine myself. Spiritually, I need to examine myself. That's what that means. So, the answer card. Look, love is in the air. Love is in the air. I wonder what the heck that means, that love is in the air. I'm going to put that right over here. right next to that 6 of cups. And we'll come back to this. Love is in the air. And maybe we have one more of these word cards just to say, why is love in the air? Huh. That's interesting. One. The beginning of things happen at 1. The 1 is what we have in the beginning. Because it's all about a dance. That dance in the mud, where it feels like mud when you're dancing on the dance floor, doing the waltz, the salsa, the polka, spinning, 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 getting dizzy, whirling around, changing your state of consciousness. That turn, you turn, turn, you turn, turn. The dance that feels like a dance in the mud, moving super slow because love is in the air. Because love is in the air. That is the message we're getting right now. Love is in the air. We'll put these away for right now, and I want my I'm going to get my stencil brush out. You're just sitting there, summer. You got to go to bed, but you're just falling asleep. Yeah, it's late. I think in October, Alex, I'm going to start my Friday at 9 p.m. I got this new gadget here. And I have paint on my hands. The love is in the air. The tea dance, identical to the charcoal dance. That turn, U-turn, EV van, speeding away. Speeding away. And where is that other stencil, the one that I wanted to use tonight? Is it over here? Is it over there? No, no, no. It is not anywhere to be found. But we got these ones, the stars and the snowflakes. And these little things here we can use. Not that one. I'm not gonna open that one up. Maybe these stones. Maybe we'll try something really abstract. I think we can finish the night off with just some abstract feelings. And I'm going to put a little water on the brush. So let's put the paints over here so you can see what we're going to do. We're probably just going to use maybe a transparent paint. Maybe that. And how about this color? And just that daubing motion. Maybe this one over here. Okay, can I get this off without it smudging everything? Nope, it smudged everything. I think we'll just kind of come up over here, and I come in and take some of this red, just a little bit of it. Need to blow that dry. This is this doodling in the margins that we're doing right now. What if I take some of this orange here? This is the time when I should have plugged that hair dryer in order to, well, we'll just let it pause for a bit, and then I'll add some other kinds of a transparent color onto it. Coming back over here to the orange. Looks like the stars really just don't want to shine too well on this. Okay. Let's just go back to that other one. Just do this little star over here. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Maybe we'll do an additional layer here. Add just a bit of that yellow. Well, hello. I started the stream a long time ago. I started it at 10. Demadin. I went to your channel today. I was doing some poetry. I've done quite a bit of that already. A little bit of stuff on the spots in the moment. And right now, just doing a bunch of random stuff. I started the stream at 10 tonight. Okay, what else am I going to do to this? It doesn't matter. We're just going to just do some stuff here. Maybe we'll come in here, take the black. Black stars. Okay, off the night shift, huh? I used to work nights. I work nights a lot. I'm still kind of on a night shift sleep schedule too. People ask me, well, why don't you come and get here earlier? And I said, well, because I went to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning. That's why I didn't get here early. Well, we guys can make it here earlier. Why can't you make it here earlier? Well, that's mostly because I worked the night shift most of my life. Yeah, I get you. All right. Let's see what we can do here. Let's see. We need to let this blow dry here. I should just get my hair dryer out. This stuff should dry fast, yeah. It'll dry fast. And then we will muddy the waters here and okay. We're just going to put this stuff down. And I'm going to take my watercolor brush, which I do happen to have that here. It's just going to do random stuff. Do you work in like in the medical field? Are you like a nurse or a something like that? Or are you like a firefighter? I don't. This is not going to work. It just plain is not going to work. Need to do a thin. Well, that's because this still had paint on it from the other night. No wonder why it's all messed up. I'm just put this thin layer color down. Warehouse worker, I see. Yeah. I've never really done that before. Work in a warehouse. I did, but I've worked at places that had warehouses. Up in Seattle, I did, I worked this business that no longer there, it no longer exists. It was called Seattle Door and Window, and I was their bookkeeper, and but they were always sending me out on deliveries and stuff like that. So you work with art supplies and school gear. Oh, I mean, is that for like a do you like work for Amazon or something like that? I mean, you probably shouldn't say where you do work. I'm not going to ask you to name the company you work for. That's probably not such a great idea, but hmm, yeah. Let's lay down some color here. Brand Eric Krause. Eric Krause. Eric Krause. Feels like there's a breeze or something. Hmm. Give it a thin layer so it's hmm. Yeah. How long have you been working that job? So 2 days on, 2 days off. And you must be working like 12-hour shifts. Oh, okay. So it's like a Russian company. You don't have any of our, I see. Yeah. Hmm. Oh, yeah, I remember you now. Yeah. 12-hour shifts. Yeah. I've done a lot of those before, but not as per part of a job. It just turned into, I ended up working 12-hour shifts. My sister, she, um, before she started owning her own companies and so forth, she did sleep medicine and would worked worked like 4 12s a week, and she didn't. I think she was on the schedule for just 3 12s a week, but ended up picking up an extra shift every week just for the overtime, and also she had 6 children too, so it was the money was needed for the family, but she was doing night shift, like what, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., 4 days a week. And hmm, I think there's something that's going to emerge from this. Let's see what we can do. I feel like it's time to plug the heater in. I wonder if melatonin. Yeah, I take that. I got to start taking that because it's like, um, ever since I had the COVID, the I get I get weird pains, like almost like my veins are hurting. Of course, my doctors thinks I'm like effing crazy. It's they don't. I can't really describe what it is, but I think it's like some new migraine symptom that I have now that I didn't have before. And well, it's going right into fall. I think tomorrow's the last day of summer, and we're going right into fall. So it feels like it's like 50 degrees outside, so it's like it's almost time to start the fire up, but I'm not really ready. I'm not ready to start burning wood because I didn't order enough wood to start burning a fire in September or October. And so I need to push that to like, I really need to push it to middle of, yeah, yeah, they're getting colder by the day. It's cold now. And so I don't have enough firewood to do, to burn wood for 6 months, but I have enough to burn for 5 months. So, and if you do wood heat, how nice wood heat is. Um, there's nothing. It's getting cold for me too. It's getting cold for everybody, man, because you get adjusted to the climate where you're living at, and so it's cold for everybody. And I grew up in a house that had wood heat, and and they heat the hot water. They heat the hot water up with my dad had a rigged into the wood stove coils, so they heat the hot water up, and so I got used to living in a house where the temperature in the wintertime was close to 100 degrees. Like almost halfway up to boiling, and so when I left the home and I went out on my own, um, I wore long underwear from September to June, and everybody thought it was so silly because I was like, you're wearing no one else is wearing long johns in May or in October, but Billy's doing that because Billy's cold. You come and I live in the Pacific Northwest and I shouldn't have been cold, but you see, thing is that most people didn't didn't have wood heat in that I knew when later. They didn't grow up in a house that had a wood stove, and they didn't grow up in a house where the average indoor temperature was 90 degrees in the middle of the winter time. And so, you know, so let's just see what kind of random stuff we can do here. Yeah. Well, um, I have a friend who works in the what color should I do here to try to do some random thing? I think, well, what color? I don't want one that's too transparent. I'm kind of leaning towards doing red here. And that works for one of the largest canneries, fish canneries in North America. And she said that the Alaskan run salmon, it hasn't happened. There isn't a salmon out in the sea this year. So it might be just that warm, that unusually warm waters and so forth. You know, I don't know. I'm glad that it wasn't that warm here because. Oh, okay, into a flower. Yeah, I'll try that. I'll turn one into a flower. It's like 4 years ago. Was that 4 years ago? 2020? Around this time, there were like massive wildfires in my area, and like there were a couple whole towns that burnt down to the ground. And to a flower. Yeah, I think I know what I'm due. Yeah. Let's do. I'm really cold. we'll use this phthalo blue here. One. Because I was telling one of my childhood friends today about that time period, because they were like, I live close to the coast, like I live in the coast mountains on the west coast, and you have in one of the little coastal city towns or areas, it had the so you live in an urban suburban area, and so you have the okay. Yeah, okay, yeah. I get that. I have there is public transportation here. I and But it's not really all that great. But nevertheless, there's this is that in there was a couple of these areas. They were way closer to the coast. So like if you are a working class person, you could afford to buy a house in these two areas that are within like 15 miles of the coast. Whereas if you were to try to buy a house on the coast, then you'd have to be a millionaire, because all the properties on the coast are just insanely expensive, and because they're not affordable for anybody who is in the working class. And so, but in one of these areas where a wildfire whipped through, there was a whole housing community that was like manufactured homes and RVs and other things, and that whole area burnt to the ground. And then where I live, you could smell the toxic fumes of those um, trailers and that had burned to the ground, and it changed the color of this the sky to yes, the coast of the ocean. I live near the western. I live on the same side of the United States where San Francisco and Seattle is and Alaska is. So it's on the San Francisco Seattle side, but I live so like if you take the western United States and you have Canada is here, Mexico's. So if you look at it on the United States, if Canada is here and Mexico is here, California takes up this much, and Oregon and Washington take up this much, and I live in Oregon right here. So essentially it's the 45th parallel. So if you from the equator, I live at the 45-degree mark from the equator. So I is that right? 45th parallel? I think that's right. But anyway, so it's like right here. Right here is where Oregon is on the west coast. So or right about here, because um, California is like this much size, and Oregon and Washington is like this much size, and so Oregon is like about here. And So then if you look at this line here, if this line here is what the coastal mountains, I live right in the coastal mountains. And so all along from essentially from Canada, almost Canada, actually it's not quite that high up, but all the way down to pretty much I don't know. I don't know how far down the coast mountains goes, but it goes, there's a coastal range of mountains and it goes clear through the state of Oregon, and those are mountains are um all those forests are all industrial forests. They're Some of them are owned by the people, but for the most part, most of those lands are owned by private citizens in like timber holding companies and so forth, and so the coastal mountains are all working. They're working. Those are forests that are working forests. They're most all of the wood products that Oregon produce. Most of those boards are cut from trees that come out of the coastal hills, the coastal mountains. And so during one of these wildfires, it just leveled that this wildfire it leveled whole towns, and that was in 2020. And then following up in 2021 in the winter time, we had a freeze, and I had yeah, it is slow. It is slow living, but the drawback about living in small towns is you're living in a food desert. So like for me, I have to drive. I don't grow my own food. I could, but I don't. And you have to drive I have to drive like 25 miles to go to a grocery store. I'm 25 miles from the nearest. That's a grocery store that sells something other than chips, candy, and beer. And then there are some of these stores that are around here. You can you can get a dozen of eggs for like $10. Whereas if you just go to one of those towns that's 25 miles away, you can get a dozen of eggs for like anywhere from like 250 to $6, depending on what if you want if you want like cage free, or you want whatever your preference is. And so that's it's lovely living in rural areas, but there are these things. You have to have an automobile. You can't live. There are people, yeah, I do know lots of people who don't have automobiles, but they also are connected to like indigenous tribes. They have there are meager services in these areas. But anyways, it is beautiful. I can tell you that. I grew up in this area, and then I lived away, and then I came back. I never thought I would come back. I wasn't not expecting to come back. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Little dogs outside barking at something. And then there's that big tree that's out front, and potentially an owl that lives in the tree, and owls can kill little dogs. Here, yeah. Well, the groceries are inexpensive. Hold on a second. Okay, I'll be right back. I have to step away for a second. I guess I don't need to step away. All right. Anyways, it's not, it's just you just have to go. You have to go into a larger city, because all the small towns, they don't have the buying power in order to get things like groceries at you know um a decent price. So like your big so all the little towns, they get their groceries from a independent grocers association. And whereas if you go into the towns, into the cities, then it comes from things like Safeway, or like Kroger, and I think there's some other smaller independent ones, and where they have like, because I go to a high end grocery store, because the 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 the, the produce lasts longer and is higher quality when you go to the high end grocery stores, versus like going to Safeway and some of the other places. And the prices, even at Safeway, are they're supposedly cheaper, but they're not really cheaper. And I don't know. That's just the way it is. You have to, you know, that yeah, that that is the drawback about living in the rural areas, is access to food. And so you live in a rural area, so you keep on hand, like 6 months worth. I usually have about 6 months of food on hand at any given time. And so when you go to those grocery stores, when you go to town, it's an all day affair. And and your nearest employers are like mills and stuff like that. And but if you do a job that's does performance based pay, you as a bartender, you can actually make, is in Oregon, because Oregon has a high minimum wage. A bartender can make a really decent wage. Yeah, but then that may be like 10 times cheaper than the United States. Yeah. Well, everything in the United States is expensive. That's a lot of people, they think they may hear. I see you see this a lot from like Asian people from Asian countries, and they want to come to the United States and make a decent living, but once they get here, the truth of it hits you. It hits you like a freight train, and you those great opportunities that you're looking for, if you're like a wage earner, you might find that they just plain don't exist at all. And I've known people who they came here seeking a better life, but then they just wanted to go back home to where they came from because they had a much better life in let's say where they maybe Thailand or wherever they're from. They had a much better life in those countries than they did here in the United States. And so, yeah, it is. And then so, I have a friend who has dual citizenship between United States and Canada. Well, he and his wife moved to Canada in 2020 and to French speaking Canada, and his wife is just retired from a job as and getting her a pension, but he like me is an artist and never had one of those types of jobs where um, you have a pension or anything like that with it. And so, and then he's also in French speaking Canada, and he can't speak a lick of of French. Now his wife can, and he does essentially immigrant labor in Canada. He's spent he's handyman. He's handy with a hammer, and he's handy with those kind of things, and that's what most immigrants do in the United States. Or you go to another country, if you're an immigrant, you do. Yeah, you have they have public health care. We do not here in the United States. We do not have public health care, and um, you do if you are like if you work for the government, if you have a government job, or you are a politician, then you get public, you get premium health care, and but most people don't have premium health care. They have some of the worst health care in the world is in the United States. uh, if you are not a wealthy person, and so your health care in the United States really begins at the dinner table. It begins at the dinner table, and we're not going to have, as much as people want to have single payer health care in the United States. It's never going to happen because of how many of those because of how many of those wars they've financed off the books, from Iraq, and the $21 trillion that the United States owes for Iraq and Afghanistan, and for that huge debt that we have on the book. So it's even though you might be inclined to want to push towards having something like single payer health care here, it's never going to happen. It's just never going to happen. And then we have with the whole things of climate change and everything else. It's in and So your best health care in the United States is to cook your own food. And and to start your life out by not eating, it's, we're doing everything in your power to not get diabetes. And that's the because that's the thing, that's what will sink you, is the diabetes. And but yeah, um now what does happen sometimes is if you come to the United States as a legitimate refugee, like a legitimate refugee, or you come to the United States and you bring a ton of money with you. So if you were able to immigrate and you bring like $500,000 with you and your family and whatnot, and then you can use that to leverage it to get a loan, maybe like $1 million small business loan, and then you get a store or something like that. A lot of immigrants have done exactly that thing. And yeah, yeah. So a lot of, that's what a lot of immigrants that have done very, very well in the United States is because they have either come here with skills or they came here with money. And if you come here with money, then it's a whole different ball game, because if you have that immigrant spirit to work, like my ancestors that came from Sweden in the 1880s, and they came and they were blacksmiths, and they came to the Pacific Northwest where I live, and they worked in these logging camps, and they did very well for themselves in the late 1800s. And it's that spirit, and that pioneering spirit, and in people who have that spirit, and that spirit is really hard to maintain if you've been in the United States if you've been here for like several generations. It's really hard to have same um that same work attitude, that same working spirit. And I haven't really seen anybody that I haven't I don't know very many. I mean, now granted, my dad was a business owner and my sister is a business owner, so yes, they have those drives, and I have, within my own skills, I have those drives as well. But it's not everybody has that kind of a drive to be self-employed. Anyways, I didn't think I would be talking about that kind of stuff here. I know these flowers don't look very, very pretty here. And let's come and get some of this. Yeah. But yeah, that's what it is. And myself, I have roots that go clear back to the 1600s. And I feel extremely rooted into this country. My family's points of entries came in 1621 was the first point of entry. Then there was another point of entry, which I do not know when it was, but it was before the founding of the United States. And then then it was the 1880s, and those were my Swedish relatives. And then it was like the 19 teens, and I had a relative from Germany, a direct relative from Germany who also came in the 1880s or 1890s. But yeah. But and then in the state of Oregon where I'm living, I have people, the people who came in the 1600s. They came to Oregon on the Oregon Trail in the late 1800s, and so I feel very rooted to this land, and I feel kind of like this flower. I feel like a flower just rooted here. And here I am painting upside down. I haven't done that for a while, painted upside down. It's always a good perspective to do this. Yeah. So was that something that you knew? Oh, that's right, because you have a buddy that lives in Oregon, and so you know that it is crazy. It is expensive to live in the United States. And yeah, I wish they would tell people before they made a migrating route to come here, just how expensive it was to live here. And I don't really think that a lot of people just can't comprehend from other countries. They just can't comprehend how what that is. I mean, they can't comprehend it. It's not, I've tried talking with people before. I mean, not in a face to face matter or a phone call matter, but like through on the side through like a messaging thing, and about how what about that whole matter. It's really hard to believe, and yeah. Well, you know what? My favorite deck. I have a few favorite decks. This is one of them. I love this because the colors are so bright. And I have a few favorite decks. And I am extremely attracted to bright colors. And I love the colors in these cards here. And I love the colors in this one too. And so just these bright colors. That's this one. Then there's the other one. Some of them are still, I haven't. The other one that I like, where did I put it at? Oh, it's over here. This one here, I also love this one too. And I love the colors are bright in this one. And this is, of course, it's very similar to the Rider Waite style, but this one just has these blues and these vibrant colors in it. And I like those vivid, vibrant colors. You know, it's just like this. I love these colors too. I don't exactly know what the colors are, but you know, just the vividness. And I like that. You know, this is a borderless deck too. Just the blues and the yellows and that and so then is that. This one here is a modern, more modern tarot deck. I like it conceptually. Conceptually, I really like it, but I feel like it gives me bad news every time I use it. So I tend to not use it very much. It's kind of funny about that way. You know, I always been, and I think that I haven't quite done this yet because not done it consistently, but I've been thinking about, because there are a lot of tarot readers that read uprights only, and I haven't really, because you know, I thought about doing it, but but that whole notion of doing that is kind of hard because I'm my early education is in the form of mathematics, and I tend to be more concrete that way. Now I've changed my brain a lot from doing the art, but I tend to want to be a rule follower, and so making the decision to not read reversals, I haven't done that. I can always do that you know. Here we go. Maybe we'll give it a different, some of this fluorescent green too. But yeah. You know what? There are rules in art. There are, actually. And but I I think I never actually studied what the rules of art were. And since I'm self-taught as an artist, but you know, I've run across something called underpaintings the other day, and I was thinking, what the hell's an underpainting? And now I tried it, and I'm gonna probably try it some more just to see if I can up the game a little bit. I don't know, but yeah, maybe it's time to let's see. Let's do this other flower over here. Got the primary blue. Mixed with this yeah. And technically speaking, And technically speaking, there really isn't rules too much in tarot either, because you have the definitions of the cards and everything, but at the same time, there's a lot of readers who are these what they call the intuitive readers, and they I think that they're just kind of making it up as they go along. That's what it seems like to me. And but I don't know. I tend to. It's kind of funny. I tend to be skeptical about a lot of different things, though. Tabletop games, yeah, yeah. I like Scrabble, and I like chess, but I haven't played chess in a long time. But I used to play chess a lot. My mom, she doesn't play games, and so and I didn't grow up in a household of people that played games. But I do like board games. I like board games because they're social, and I like that competitiveness, that social interaction with people, and be like one of those things I'd like to ask my neighbors if they would want to do something like that. But everyone's so busy making a living that they don't really have time to do things like play games with each other and so forth. Maybe they do within their own families, but I don't know. When I lived in Seattle, I played a lot of board games and stuff with different groups and with people, and chess is for smarty pants. Yeah, well, it's for people like me who are like super nerds that aren't like sports people. And I like to play I like card games. Of course, there's the tarot, uh, and I like to play slot machines. I like to gamble. Um, I mean, what are these? These are my losing scratch tickets that I turned them into either prompts, or I turned them into a a oracle an oracle deck, and you know I don't. Gambling is not in my budget now. Um, yeah, I think chess is one of those things that you could learn it at any age. There's no reason why it's just like doing anything. Um, you could learn to do art at any age, and you can learn to do play chess at any age. But you probably are better to gain any mastery of chess. You do got to kind of start at a young age, But I think that's when most people play it, is when um, they're teenagers. I think I started playing chess when I was a teenager. Yeah. So we got a couple little abstract flowers here. I'm coming up on the 2 hour mark. I do have to get up early tomorrow. I have my job. And this is a place where I have my art for sale at, so I volunteer one day a month So in exchange for a place to sell my art, and I go there and sell other people's art, and so I gotta try and get myself to sleep before 2 a.m. I know it's coming right up about, so it's like just a few minutes after midnight right now. No, this doesn't look too terrible. Really abstract. Outside of the fact that I didn't clean my brush off, and over here it looks kind of dirty. So it has a little dirty kind of a look over here. But other than that, it's doodling. Yeah. That's maybe a little there. It's like a retail store. So it's not like an auction. It's um they sell the owner of the building has the majority of amount of doodads and things in it. A lot of vintage clothing, vintage items, and um, then there are a lot of local artists who have things like little paintings or little crap, like soap that they've made, homemade soap that they've made. Let me see. I bought one of my example paintings that I use. I bought from that store. Where's it at? So this is something that I bought from that store. One of the local artists that lives in this area, and so I use this as a lot to just to for a lot of my own ocean paintings, and some photographs. This is one that I'm going to be working on, but I really need to finish that one painting. I have an order of stuff to finish. Anyways. But it's nice, it is in the nearest town over, and they recently put a coffee shop in, and I really hope it survives, because and they have really good coffee cake there, and their espresso is really good too. I have my own espresso maker as well, but it's really kind of nice to go to a shop and get coffee cake, and to get some espresso. I really love espresso. That's like one of my favorite beverages, and and so that's in. But then I don't really buy groceries there, because it's $10 for a dozen eggs, and a pound of hamburgers is $10, and or it's not quite that much, but it's just really expensive, and so. But yeah. Anyway, that's nice doodling and talking and doodling. But tomorrow night we're gonna do Oh, it's sublimated coffee. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, my the espresso machine. I bought an espresso maker in 2020, and it's essentially a lever, essentially a piston, and you put the coffee in the water and everything, and then you got this lever, and you squeeze the piston down, and then it extracts the coffee out the bottom side, and it makes it makes a really tasty cup of coffee, and so and since I got that, then I hardly ever go out for coffee anymore. Manual labor coffee, yeah, you got it. But that's what if you look at those early Italian coffee makers that they made espresso 100 years ago or so. That's exactly what they were. You put the hot water in, and you use a lever action device, totally mechanical device to extract that coffee, and you know yeah. So yeah. So did I tell any valuable stories or anything to those listening in, and was it even remotely interesting? Mm-hmm. Kind of started this evening out trying to do poetry, but I know poetry is a huge buzzkill for most people, and which is why when I started this channel, that I wasn't gonna do poetry, and it's like, well, and my it's anyways. Let's just take a look at what we got here. You know, doing something abstract like that, it's been kind of fun. It's not bad. Yeah, yeah, it's good to visit. Yeah, to have a kind of a miscellaneous random night. And so supposedly this is to it will keep the paint dry and keep it from drying out. And I don't really like wasting paint. Because I took my other palette and I'm using that. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for being here. And I am going to turn the camera off. And I wanted to thank everybody who came into this, even for just a few minutes. And maybe I'll read one more of my poems here. This is a cross out poem. Tasting a lover. Her boyfriend stopped thinking. When she went to work, she never planned anything. Destiny is the beauty of the world dreaming or playing with neighborhood kids. All of us end up here as the result of whimsical external forces. And one more. And I'll call it a night with this one. Deep fried tears. And this is what I wrote during the days when I worked in a casino and did food and beverage in a casino. Garish orange and tan lampshades illuminated a sign over a call-out window. Hunched over, people sat at tables eating greasy burgers and limp fries. A cacophony of slot machines ground out a new song everyone heard over and over and over. A tired baritone hailed out the number 770 from behind a teal screen adorned in wavy red yarn. I looked at my receipt. It matched jackpot. And so, anyways, that's it for tonight. I'm going to be back at 11 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow night, and we'll be painting a scene on a box. A scene on a box. And then there'll be something Sunday afternoon at 1 p.m. Pacific time, and it may just be finishing that up, or I might start and do something totally new. And so we'll see you all later, and thank you very much, all of you guys that push the like button and so forth, and for being here with me tonight. And I wish you well. Bye-bye.